Good morning.
Good morning.
Morning, everyone.
This is early for our group, so if you have blurry eyes, that's okay.
We do have Delegate Metzger with us today. I think I just admitted him to the call.
Okay, welcome. I think we have the Chief of Staff, I guess, for Delegate Metzger.
Hello, I'm Delegate Metzger's intern. I'll be taking notes for this meeting.
And tell the delegate we're really happy about his bill the other day, last week, the hearing, and for his interest in all our work that we're doing. So it's great to have you on board.
Thank you very much, sir, and I'll definitely let him know that.
No. And just for the record, sir, your name is again?
My name is Deverick Brown.
Okay, good. How do you say that, Devere?
Deverick, Deverick. You can also call me D.
D. Okay, Deverick D. Okay, thank you.
I think we have enough people if we wanted to go ahead and get started. Let me put up the agenda.
Okay, well, great. Good morning, everybody, and welcome to the February meeting. For the many of you I've seen in the last week or two around the halls of the Senate and the House of Annapolis. So thank you for all your work. We have today's agenda. We have one disappointment. Dr. Lois Davis from Rand Corporation hurt her back very badly, and it's affecting her ability to speak clearly. So she will not be able to join us today, but we'll schedule her for our next meeting. So today we thought we'd go over our usual approval of minutes, and then we'll get some work updates from each group and probably talk about the legislation that the hearings that we've had in the last week or two, and go from there. So is there anything that anybody else wants to add to the agenda or wants to make sure we cover today before we begin? Okay, you can always.
Good morning, Doc. Good morning, everyone. Can you hear me?
Yes, Jamal.
Hey, good morning, Dr. Starr. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you.
Good. I just put in the chat just for future considerations for the commission. And you said the last time I sent you that note that you would mention it. So I just slipped it in the chat just so you give everybody a little update on what my experience has been with working with reentry, with time organization, and some of the individuals returning home and citizens. It's kind of in coalition to what we are striving to accomplish within the commission.
Great, thank you. Okay, so Ainsley, would you mind scrolling through the minutes and letting people
You're welcome.
look and see if there's any additions or? So I have to presume that everybody had a chance to look at the minutes, and if there are no comments or suggestions or edits, can I get a motion to accept the minutes from last meeting?
Motion to.
Move to accept minutes.
Okay,
second.
well, that takes care of that. Thank you. All right. Work groups. Well, I was picking on Andrea first, but let's pick on, is Diana available today?
She is
hope
not here.
Pardon, she's not here?
Not today.
Not today. Diana, as you know, is going through PT for her back surgery, so we'll catch up a little bit on what we can for that. Regarding her activities with Career Tech. Maybe who else has been involved with the meeting with Diana that might want to give a summary of her last meeting? Anybody on the group that, John, I know you probably attended, Jessica, anybody else want to give a summary of what's going on with Career Tech right now?
We did have
I
a conversation about work-based learning last time, and virtual learning. So maybe looking at like the model that Maine, I think, is doing, or Kansas, and maybe partnering with the higher education work group to talk about, virtual work-based learning opportunities.
Okay. Jessica, you turned your visual on. Would you like to make some remarks?
No, my understanding from that work group is they asked for an additional presentation about what we offer at what locations and the current status. And then they reached out to Dr. Barron, who is our CTE coordinator, to do a presentation on the 27th, I believe, at their next work group meeting.
Okay, which we can probably share with the commission after that, or maybe there's some slides or something. If she put some slides together, maybe there's a summary sheet, and then we can give that to the commission. That would be great.
We did. I sent the summary sheet to Ainsley a few weeks back, and Ainsley was building it into the database.
Right, yes. Okay, so when we get that up to speed completely by maybe this meeting that's coming up, then we can share it, right? Okay, terrific. John, you have such a better handle on licensing stuff, and I know that's been an issue that's talked about. Could you give us some thoughts on what the discussions are on that?
Sure. I know that the PEDR, I apologize, has expressed interest in partnering with the Maryland Department of Labor's Division of Occupational and Professional Licensing to get a report of all the licenses that were denied due to criminal background history, so that we can analyze that data, find trends, and possibly work through solutions to eliminate that or reduce that as a barrier towards licensure, in order for us to make sure that we make the most of the training that we provide behind the fence.
Thank you. And for the benefit of Dee, because the Delegate Metzger has put in a bill on apprenticeship, and that there was a hearing last week on that. So Dee, would you like to just give a quick piece of a summary of that bill? And then we could probably get some reaction to the idea of apprenticeship here, because we have all our experts from the Department of Labor here.
Yes. So the bill is tailored for kind of like inmates that nonviolent inmates. The delegate definitely expressed that the inmates will receive job training while they're going through their sentence, their prison sentence, and once the sentence is near the end, they should have different types of apprenticeships under their belt. So once they're out of prison, they can go and actually get their license because they have the schooling done while they're doing their sentence. Once the schooling is complete, the delegate wants these inmates or former inmates to actually have actual certification that they then can use, once their prison sentence is complete. And I'm listening. You guys actually raised a great point. A lot of the licenses are they're kind of restricted. So if they have a criminal background, they are probably going to get denied the license. And I think that's one thing that the delegate didn't think of, and I will bring that up to him because that's super important. But yeah, no, the bill last week the hearing went great. A lot of questions were raised, and so I can provide a copy to the commission of the bill if you guys want to read it over, and if you guys have anything to add, please send it to us.
Yes, that'd be great. If you send it to Ainsley and to me, then Ainsley's going to post it on, and we'll send it out to everybody on the commission and on our work groups. And you're right. It was a very positive meeting, and we had support from a home builders group, from their professional association, if I remember correctly, and a number of IIs. We use the term IIs here, D, for folks who are incarcerated. Formerly, former IIs, incarcerated individuals. IIs is the term we kind of use now, and so again, John has a bigger handle on apprenticeship than most of us here. So, John, would you briefly tell us what the Department of Labor is doing with apprenticeship, so that you can probably hook up with this bill and with the delegate as this goes through the session? Would you mind giving us an update?
So yes, the Maryland Department of Labor manages registered apprenticeship. At the moment, we are partnering with DPSCS, and I see Danielle raised her hand. Danielle is actually working closely with our Director of Apprenticeship at the moment on the most current program. Danielle, do you have an update on that most recent one that we're working through?
Yeah, so since DPSCS has oversight of post-secondary, a lot of those registered apprenticeships are through post-secondary institutions. So we are partnering with Department of Labor, those post-secondary institutions, to do those registered apprenticeship programs. And the one we're looking at right now is with Howard County Community College, Howard Community College. And that is it's like a culinary, basically line cook. And we're trying to work out all the kinks with when they can do it, how close to release, and all that kind of good stuff right now. But I believe the bill that was put through is the same one, just maybe a little bit of language change that from the last 2 years, that was put through by Metzger, correct? Is that the one that has DPSCS doing the apprenticeship programs?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. So I think that is the same one that has been put through. I think this is the second or third year. So we are, excited if that does go through to help support, definitely, because I believe it's put on DPSCS, but there will be a lot of partnership obviously with the Department of Labor to support that if it does go through. Right now, the only registered apprenticeships we have behind the fence is one that is a apprenticeship, which is out in Hagerstown, and that's actually run mostly through MCE, the Maryland Correctional Enterprises. I do help support, but
Can you say that again? Your voice is going in and out, Danielle. Can you do that again? Say what that program is again, and where it is your voice goes in and out.
Sure, I'm having internet problems at the office. Is that better now?
John, are you aware of this? Of if maybe what she was trying to say, where this is and what it is, since you.
To be honest with you, I am more on the execution side, not the legislation side. So I am actually unfamiliar with the details of that legislation as it's moving.
No, what I mean, what Danielle is just trying to say. But
no, she was going in and out for me as well.
Jessica, do you have any idea? Because you're here, but your CT lady isn't.
Oh, yeah, and I'm aware. So I don't know where Danielle left off, but essentially DPS is handling this component of the line cook server apprenticeship because it is credit bearing from a secondary institution. I'm not exactly sure where they are in the legislation either, but we were identifying the best group to do this work and the start of it, but I don't know the details of where they are.
So,
hey, Steve, I'm back. Sorry, we're having internet problems at headquarters, so I had to switch.
So where is this program? We're trying to get the title of it, where it is, what's going on.
It's a line cook. Are you talking about the one that we're working on doing with Department of Labor, the new one?
Yes.
Yeah, it's a line cook apprenticeship, basically a culinary arts with Howard Community College. And obviously working with the Department of Labor, with the apprenticeship division, and correctional ed, since it is post-secondary and it is an actual credit bearing program. It's kind of like a three-way partnership, but the problem we're having right now is that, if we do it at a pre-release facility, and we want them to be somewhat close to release, but we also want them to try to go off-site to do the apprenticeship, because that's the whole point, right? Is that they do it with the employer. But unfortunately, in that case, they got to be work release eligible. So then they've got to fall within a certain time period. So there's just some kinks to work out. But we are, trying to work that through right now.
But you mentioned that in Hagerstown, Howard Community College is working with what, MCTC?
No, Hagerstown at MCIH, Maryland Correctional Institute, Hagerstown, we do have a meat cutting registered apprenticeship already, and that is run primarily through Maryland Correctional Enterprises. And they connect with the Department of Labor through the apprenticeship division to do that. We are also working with Hagerstown Community College to do a welding program that's a credit bearing apprenticeship program. That will hopefully what will happen is the IIs, the incarcerated individuals that go through labor's welding programs, and they do that pre-apprenticeship, they can then go into that registered apprenticeship up in Hagerstown and actually then get it. Because what's happening is many of them are MCE workers and they're just working there. They're not getting any sort of certification or apprenticeship or anything like that, right? So they're leaving with maybe 4 or 5 years of welding experience, but nothing to show for it, right? No piece of paper to show I'm a welder. So we're working with Hagerstown Community College to try to bring that there.
Terrific.
Yep.
And I find it interesting, and just as a note, that Howard Community College has reached as far as Hagerstown, and the colleges are cooperating. It's a terrific example of cooperation.
Well, Hagerstown Community College is doing the Hagerstown one.
But the cook
and-
thing is from Howard, and it's happening at MCIH.
No, Howard is doing Dorsey Run Community College
Oh, yeah,
or CMCF in the Jessup region. We haven't figured that.
Okay, because you just mentioned the two
Yeah.
together.
Yeah,
Okay.
we can't. Yeah, community college are very territorial.
I was
So
gonna say. Well, I think this has been very instructive, I hope, for Dee, and I urge Dee to come to the next Career Tech workshop, work group meeting. Ainsley, what is the exact time and date of the next Career Tech? It's at the end of this month.
So it's going to be on a Thursday. Let me go ahead and check my calendar. So it's going to be the 26th at 10 a.m. So I can go ahead and send an invitation to the Career Tech people and interested in attending that meeting.
Okay, so you'll get an invitation, Dee, for that meeting and for you to attend, and the delegates welcome to, we have
Yes,
delegates even on.
Please.
So I think that's been a terrific update on Career Tech and helps inform Delegate Metzger, hopefully. So, okay. So Andrea, pick on you now.
Great. Thank you. And part of my update was to talk about community college involvement, but Danielle just gave that. So I'm going to not go into details, but our committee in thinking about priorities for this year is to explore more of what's happening with the community colleges and how we can get more involved. And again, Danielle just gave some great examples of those conversations that she's having with them, and it's exciting to see some certificate programs that will be starting up. And she also shared, we met 2 weeks ago, that AACC, Anne Arundel Community College, is also in the process of starting up a program at Dorsey Run, a certificate program in business. So we're happy to see some movement there. I think as we go as a work group, we're going to continue that conversation and perhaps how we can get more associate degree programs to develop in the state. I think that's the area we're kind of missing that in terms of post-secondary education. So we'll continue to have that conversation. And yeah, so it's community colleges, getting them more involved. We also talked a little bit about the Eastern Shore and seeing what can happen down there. In the past, we've had Warwick Community College running a program under Second Chance Pell for a few years. They are no longer operating. So we had that conversation. We talked about University of Maryland Eastern Shore has been in and out of the conversation of starting up a program over the years. Right now, Salisbury University seems to have the most interest to potentially start something up, partner with maybe some of those other colleges. So just conversations right now, but there's definitely a need for something at the Eastern Shore in terms of post-secondary. So we'll just continue exploring. Those were the main things we talked about as a group. I know they're on the agenda. We're gonna have the delegates share about legislation. So I don't want to steal that from, I don't know if Delegate Embry's on the call, but just to share what we recommended for our report was for 2 pieces of legislation from the higher ed work group. One for a tuition waiver for incarcerated learners, and the other for incarcerated learners to have access to state financial aid through MHEC. So there's 2 bills that I know are currently being drafted. Danielle and I have gone back and forth with Delegate Embry about some language. So I'm not sure where it is right now, but I know that this week we're working on drafting the bill and finalizing it. So I'm not sure if she's on or if anyone else is on that wants to give an update when we get to that point.
Andrea, if I can just really quick give an update. I did speak after we got the draft bills from Delegate Embry. So the 2 of them, like Andrea said, the one which will just have DPSCS in the colleges. Currently that legislation's already in place, and it just says that we will assist with federal financial aid, and it adds on the assistance for state financial aid. So then kind of like Andrea, like what we've all been talking about, right? Like having them access that state financial aid. But then the other one is more of a complete exemption from tuition. So what that would mean is that after federal and state aid is applied, any tuition left over would be just waived. There would not be any difference for the colleges to have to pay. And Andrea mentioned about the community colleges. One of the huge issues with the community colleges, and really even universities right now, is funding and the money to be able to do these programs, just because of what they all require now. And community colleges don't have the money. So if they would have access to just the state aid, that would cut down the cost. Or if they had that exemption and no cost, which would be harder to get passed through legislation in our current budget landscape. But if that would happen, we would see, I think, a major uptick in the colleges that would end up starting to apply at that point.
Let's wait till the legislative stuff. We're getting ahead of ourselves. here.
Yeah, but my biggest thing with that, I wanted to
make
say,
sure that we don't take it away from the Delegate Embry in case she.
right. There's a thing that they don't know about though. Like I did speak to MHAC. They are looking over that legislation and are going to get back to me, both the deputy secretary and the executive director for legislative affairs. So we're just waiting to hear back from them.
All right. So let's get back to Andrea. Do you have some more stuff for your?
So, well, Anne put a question in the chat, and we did talk about this at our meeting about a status of the Hagerstown higher ed programming. So Towson University is going to, is it MCTC, Danielle?
Yes, they start in the fall.
Yeah, so they're doing a bachelor's program that'll start up in the fall. And then that is where the welding certificate from, well, no, welding certificate would be at MCIH. Is that correct?
Yes.
Yes,
Okay.
but that is not for quite a while. The
Okay.
Hagerstown is still in the approval path.
Okay,
Okay.
but they are like, they've submitted paperwork. They're at the Middle States.
No, they're still at MHEC
Okay.
stages and my application stages.
Okay.
So those are the two future, and Townsend very, very soon.
Well, this is terrific. I mean, just like the career tech thing, I'm sorry, Diana just popped on. We had a good summary. I know you couldn't be here earlier, so we had a pretty good summary of stuff on career tech. And Andrew's just, I mean, great stuff coming out of higher ed as well, and legislation is resulting so as well. Diana,
Oh, Steve, really quick, Goucher College is moving up to Hagerstown too, to RCI because of MCIJ closure. So you know how we have all of our colleges kind of like all primarily, well, not primarily, pretty much in Jessup. So now we'll have 2 bachelor programs up in Hagerstown now.
yes, thank you. Diana, I'm sorry you weren't with us earlier, but we had a good summary, talked about apprenticeship. We have a representative from Delegate Metzger's office, Dee, who's been taking notes and who's going to be participating in the next career tech meeting. And the delegate did a great presentation of his bill, and we had good positive feedback from the committee as well as witnesses. And so we got a pretty good update on licensing, on apprenticeship, on a couple other items. Is there anything else that you, even if you duplicate anything that you wanted to share?
I think sorry again, I was having technical issues this morning. And thank you for whoever did the summary for us. But just like the other work groups, we've met several times. I've gotten feedback on each of the recommendations that we put forward. I think to Danielle's point, we've got some really good ideas here, but we're really concerned about how we can make these recommendations come to life, given the realities of our funding situation. So any other resources or even the grant areas are just problematic right now, particularly in workforce development. There's been not much happening at the state or the federal level in terms of resources for any of the career and tech prep programs in the short run, or major expansions in any of the apprenticeship stuff. So I'm really concerned about that. I know our committee is as well. So, and also if there's any questions, I'm sure that whoever reported out on our work group and the notes that you have did a great job. So thank you for stepping in.
Yeah, you're looking a little better. I hope you're feeling better. So, so I think now that we have a good addition with the Delegate Metzger, we can, talk about, apprenticeship more. And the one point that Dee made was, and that John talked to a little bit, is licensing, the problems of licensing and people getting licensed and not being denied licenses because they have a criminal record and all that. So those are big issues. And so, okay, anything else on CT? Because then we'll go to ABE and things. Okay, so for adult basic ed, I'll ask Ainsley. First, one of the recommendations the first 2 recommendations have to do with data dashboards and performance indicators and such. And I know Jessica, you guys have been working hard on that, and Ainsley gave you some feedback. So either one of you want to talk about what's going on there?
So I think the Department of Labor is developing their own data dashboards. I'm currently working on a program dashboard for the commission to use that just has a list of programs that you're able to select by facility. And I really want to shout out the Department of Labor and DPSES for giving me like the list of the current programs. So hopefully that is something that I can share at the next career tech meeting and the next commission meeting. So it'll be a useful tool for this commission to be able to find out what programs are at what institutions. And I'll leave the other data dashboards up to the Department of Labor.
Mm-hmm.
As when you got everybody got the invitation for today's meeting, there was a link to our website for the commission. So we're taking things that folks like Jessica are doing, in labor and making connections there. We're not just making it more available. We're not trying to do something separate. So there's gonna be a lot of information, but available from our own website as well. So data is going to be very important for a number of reasons, not just adult basic ed, for career tech, for post-secondary education. So it's not, even though it's a recommendation that came out of the ABE GED work group, it affects to all the program areas. I'll speak a little bit to the third recommendation. Our recommendation has to do with creating a plan for a school board system to oversee adult correctional education. And so we had made that as a recommendation, and we're starting to do research in the area. Danielle has helped us make a connection to the state directors, and we're getting legislation and organizational charts from the various states, which we're collecting and looking at. We're going to share with the commission as we put it together, where Dr. Lois Davis was going to talk to us today about how to collect data that's comparable across states. So we're talking oranges and oranges and not apples here and grapes over there. And so she will come back to us. I may have a conversation with her in the meantime, since I have a good relationship with her over the years. And so the other piece of this, and there's, I think I saw Delegate Pasteur, maybe not. Is Delegate Pasteur on?
Delegate Pasteur is not on. I don't know if we wanted to go back to the Department of Labor to ask about their data dashboards, or if we wanted to.
Oh, okay. Is that not finished? Do you want to go ahead, Jessica?
Yeah, so the information that Ainsley asked for was really more an inventory of what we offer at all of our schools across the state. We do maintain data dashboards for every program.
Okay, terrific.
So that's not that's not something that we would need to implement. That's something that we've already accomplished.
And
we maintain and track monthly.
Could you put the link in the chat or something for anybody who wants to go look at it? And so.
Yeah, they're not links, but I mean, it is information like that I could share in a presentation, but they're not links in the form of what Ainsley has shared.
Okay, so we can't go to the Department of Labor and look at them.
No.
Okay.
Because it's not on a CIS.
Okay.
So they are all, privately maintained and updated every month, but it is certainly something that we could report on because it's how we track our progress and how we make decisions as to what we do within each program.
So, and in terms of the monthly reports we're getting from the Department of Labor, how does that fit together? We're getting from Benjamin sending out a report once a month to all of us.
Yeah, I'm not sure what Ben is sending. What information is on his report?
And so what are we getting from Benjamin?
It is like a monthly enrollment report, and I can, talk to Ben and Jessica more about that as well.
I mean, we track enrollment, attendance, student
that's the kind of thing
program.
That's the kind of thing that's on that report we monthly get. So, but that's different from the data dashboard. I mean, the dashboard, I should say.
Yeah, I mean, it's all the same information. What's on the dashboard might, just be a little prettier.
Okay. All right. Well, we're going to talk about that some more in the future because that's one of our recommendations to really continue to work on that. So maybe we're supposed to have a meeting, you and Danielle and Ainsley and I. So we'll talk about that some more. We'll do preparation for it ahead of time and then have it at one of these commission meetings, so we can clarify this a little better. Delegate Simpson introduced the bill 0438, House Bill 0438, which had its first hearing yesterday to create a committee that would design a school board, school district model. And that committee, if the bill passes, will start working July 1, I guess, and it'll produce a report by June 30th, 2028, which they will share with the commission at that point. So that commission will work on its own, and it'll be made up of membership separate from us. But it has membership from all the departments, from IIs, groups of various groups that are related to the issue, and it'll be run through the Maryland Department of Education. It would be chaired from there. So I would like Ann just to talk about it a little bit. She testified yesterday, and maybe about particularly about the data mapping, the financial mapping.
Absolutely. Thank you. So the idea is to take a year to get all of the finances together, because correctional education is spread across multiple departments. Look at what money is being spent where, because without having some kind of a fiscal map, you can't build anything. You just make one more unfunded mandate. Look for funding that may be being lost, like that. I don't have it in front of me, but the inmate job training that's over in MHAC right now, and that money has been lost since 2021, and the program still isn't on its feet. And figure out how to get those things up and running so that that funding is actually providing education to people behind the walls. After you've kind of assessed the financial landscape, while you're doing that, you're also assessing other state models, looking at things that are actually working, not just things that other people are doing, because a lot of times people are doing stuff, but it's not working. So just because another state's doing it doesn't mean it's great. You're looking at what's actually working and talking to people to find out why that's working and what kind of actual problems they're having in practice. To make sure that whatever we're looking at is actually compatible to what Maryland is doing and Maryland's problems, because we have a pretty unique system, but a lot of things about it work really well. So that at the end of that, you're talking about building a unified strategic plan, which would have a design for a school board to kind of bring everybody together. So you don't have kind of these little pockets in different departments that are not the primary focus of any one of those departments, but it's going to be somebody's focus now that correctional education needs to be lifted up and important, and that all these little pockets need to be well resourced. Because right now, I think a lot of little pockets are not well resourced. You bring that together into a single strategic plan that gets presented to the commission and to the governor's office. That would go in to the commission in 2028. The commission would have a year to review it, amend it, change, make other recommendations, if things changed, and then present that in their report at the end, and also do implementation work. I mean, if it comes out of there and it's like, oh, hey, this is fantastic, then the commission would set about the implementation work of setting up that actual district and getting all of these pieces unified.
Okay, I think it's a good summary, and there's a lot to it. Well, and I must say, Ann and I and Delegate Simpson, we all ended up being there till after 6 o'clock last night with the hearing. The bill was 14th in the hearing, and started at 2 o'clock. So that's just typical of what happens on the. I want people to know that we were down there. Ann was asked to testify. I was asked to testify on behalf of the commission, and we support a bill in terms of. It was a recommendation we made, and it's been implemented. We are not sponsoring the legislation. We don't sponsor legislation. We react to the delegates putting legislation in. So we will update everybody on how that goes. Again, it's this group separate from us that will work and coordinate with us. The research we're doing, we're going to turn over to that committee. We're going to keep on.
What's the bill number you're talking about now?
House Bill 0438. And it was presented yesterday. I received it. I mean, there were no questions. It was because everyone was so tired by that point. I'm not sure the delegates, were ready to drag it on anymore, but it got received. It had over 20 sponsors, co-sponsors, I should say. So it was a well-sponsored bill. So, so I guess where does that leave us, Ainsley? We've got a couple other recommendations for adult ed that we will be working on. I don't want to, the high school certificate. Where are we with that, Alyssa? I think I see you here. With the, you want to talk about that? You're silent.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay. I think we're waiting for MSTE to give approval. I believe Labor has been in touch and applied. Jessica, you're better positioned to respond to that. My issue was more the issue that has not necessarily been part of the recommendation is what to do about the students who are almost at the point of graduating, who turn 18 and move into an adult correctional facility and lose the opportunity of earning a high school diploma and have to start back with, from the beginning with the GED. That's a separate issue, but the certificate program is for students with disabilities who will not otherwise be able to earn a high school diploma, which is generally determined in the prior IEP meeting. Yeah, Mary, you might have more on that.
Yeah, I think it was I always say it's, we're waiting on MSTE. After our last meeting, I reached out to special ed, and Molly Connor was on this call. She spoke at one of the meetings a couple of months ago, but I sent her asking, she said, basically, special ed met with two folks in Labor in November. At that meeting, they shared that Catherine shared that they were working on a CE certificate program, suggested it'd be a good idea for Labor to reach out to their AAG for guidance in developing this plan, which in turn should reach out to our AG, who is Amanda. Is this all making sense with Labor? I'm just reading this. I haven't read it in a while.
Mary.
We also offered support and told Labor to reach out with any questions or support. To date, they hadn't heard. And in January, I followed up and said, how you doing? And she said, we reached out and requested to meet like in the middle of January. So did you have that meeting? That's all I know.
Yep, Mary, you were spot on. We had that meeting. All of the information has been prepared and shared and is at the AG level.
Great. So it's moving.
Yeah, it's moving. It's on time. And Catherine Lander, our SPED coordinator, is also prepared to share the report before March 31st as requested by the commission.
And her name is I didn't read all the names in emails. Thank you, Jessica.
Absolutely. And then to Alyssa's comment, we are exploring some additional diploma tracks, such as credit recovery, that will start in FY27, but no student will truly have to start all the way over because you test in. So every student takes the test of adult basic education, and then you start on the level that you are. So this has certainly happened. It happened recently at ECI where a student got pretty close to earning their GED, to earning their diploma, and it only took them about 2 months to earn their GED. So no, it's because we start where the student is versus starting, all at the same.
Right. But I will tell you from my personal experience, there are a lot of kids, students who come into the system who have never been identified, who in fact have a disability, who have had years of failure. So I'm representing kids who are repeating 9th grade 3 times, have never been identified, and end up in the adult system. And I just got an email from someone today who had a Second Chance Act case. Student has a learning disability, and their case is being impacted because they cannot pass the GED. And I think the data shows how difficult the GED is. I mean, it is not, we all know it, right? It's at the 6th grade level or whatever it is at this point. For many students who get accommodations, that really becomes very, very challenging. And if it weren't challenging, we'd probably have higher data. And so I think where kids are being tested in, it'd be interesting to see the data, but where are they being tested in? Because I would bet that a lot of them are being tested in a very low level. So
I can tell you. So,
Okay.
So our students test in anywhere between kindergarten and 8th grade on average. And the GED test at an 8th grade level of proficiency. So what you're talking about, you're right, is a little bit different because we do work with students who have already been identified, in the IEP process and continue the process. We don't identify in the adult system.
If
I'm
I'm
just-
not mistaken,
Can I make one comment real quickly? I've heard the word kindergarten a few times, and I hesitate to use it with our students because when they hear that, it sounds very like they're kids or something. I'd rather it's at lower level through the equivalent of 8th grade or things like that, because
But Steve, it's really important.
It's the grade level.
It's
Yeah.
what they are,
grade level,
if
but
you are whitewashing or, understating
Mhm.
where some of these students are starting at. And
Well,
yeah, and so like to say that someone who's coming into the system who is reading at a kindergarten level is really significant for the trajectory of that student. And while you might talk to the student using different language,
yes, that's what I'm.
it's very important for us to call it what it is.
Mhm.
And we have students who have really significant challenges.
Mhm.
And I don't know what the answer is, but I see it every single day.
Well, the reason I reacted because it was in front of students when we were visiting JCI, and the principal said kindergarten several times, and in front of students, and so I'm just saying, because the move in adult ed is to get to proficiencies and equivalents of grade levels, and not to use terms of anyway. That's an aside, but.
But to put some context to why that was done, that was the principal's major celebration. She had a student who came to her at a kindergarten level, and he was able to earn his GED, graduate top of his class, and became a clerk. It's one of her success stories. So it is really important to us because we track every student's achievement, not only as the school team, but also with the students so that they know exactly where they are and what skills and competencies they need to build.
Okay, well, we can have that discussion on the side, but, and I agree. We have students that come in if you're at the kindergarten level, you don't read at all, really. Forget about it. You're totally functionally illiterate, and that's a better term. But, so we are going to have a report on the March 31st on the progress that's going on with MSDE and with this certificate for completion and whatever. So the commission can look forward to that. And that's going to be a milestone. And I have to thank Alyssa for bringing these issues up many, many times and working on them.
But I can't take credit for the certificate. That was labor. That was their initiative, and I appreciate them for doing that.
I think you've get really good emphasis to all this discussion, and I appreciate it, and thank you. So,
I want to make sure Danielle has a chance to speak on this.
Yeah, really quick, I want to make sure that we do understand that not just labor teachers, but also DPSCS. If we notice that a student has a disability, a learning disability, and they are not diagnosed, or maybe they were special ed at some point in their life and then they got out of it, or they never were, that they are put through to the special education teacher for testing. So even if they've never been put into a special education program. In addition, but the way the feds go is like literacy level is K through 1.9, which is first grade in 9 months. And then it's 2 to 3.9, which is beginning basic, right? So like, even if we say literacy, it's still an equivalent to kindergarten through first grade in 9 months. So, no, we are K through 12 teachers, right? Certified. So we want to make sure that we are acknowledging, especially those special ed, like Alyssa said, they are under 21, right? And they are getting those services that are available to them through the K through 12 system. So, but I just wanted to let you know that we do identify, yes.
And then just to clarify something else here, the federal law does not require, the special ed law has changed in 1994. So if you come in without an IEP into an adult system, the states are no longer required to screen and identify people with special ed. So if we're looking for people who look like they're having disabilities, we're going beyond what's requirements of federal law, and that's a good thing because we're trying to identify people with disabilities, trying to take care of them. And I just want to point out that that's a positive effort that Maryland's making that's not required by federal law. Correct? Is that correct, Alyssa? And
No, that's not true. We are required to identify and provide services.
Not,
but
not
not,
under,
not specifically.
not under the IDEA.
Correct.
The IDEA specifically has a carve out, but
DEA, but if we get that, there is other standards that require us to do that.
And,
So,
and the fact that you're following those other standards, I'm trying to make a compliment and a kudo for doing that effort, you know, beyond what's required by federal. Because a lot of states at that point just dropped out and don't do it, don't do that anymore. You know.
and I can just share what that looks like. So because every student is assessed, and that's how we figure out which classroom you go to and what you need, every student is getting the instruction tailored to their needs. The teacher is monitoring, they're having bi-monthly data conversations. These students are allowed to have accommodations on GED if, and I think that's what Danielle is speaking to, because Danielle and I have had that conversation, because she's really the through line for that. So if the teacher notices a disability so this happens a lot when the student is older. So the student is 35, you know, no longer qualifies under IDEA, but we know that this student has a specific learning disability. You can still apply for the accommodations under GED with a letter from the DPSCS staff.
Yes.
Kind of two different pieces, but all still working towards the same goal of giving the students what they need to make academic success with the program.
Yeah, that's a good point, that the GED has more time, larger print, various other accommodations, and that you're applying for those when the teacher sees that. And
it's applied, and every student who has an IEP is automatically applied for those accommodations, and they're pretty easy to get. GED is pretty accommodating.
Yes.
It used to be hard, but now it's much easier. Absolutely, Jessica.
Yeah, I wanted to get one at Howard County when I was tutoring for a student who obviously had an issue with time. He was very otherwise bright, but very slow processing. And so that is available. So, okay. So I think we've done the three work groups summaries, and we had Delegate Simpson on, I think, and or maybe Embry. I'm looking over our representation from the other delegates on that could speak to any of the legislative stuff that we haven't talked about so far. I think maybe we lost. So okay. Well, so let me just, as I see, I want to just bring up another point now that I see Michael Wilson is on. He has been doing some work for us on special education, and we were going to have a future report from him. He's already turned in a report about the special education, and so we'll set up a time, and we should probably talk with Jessica. Have you seen that report yet? And Alyssa, that Michael Wilson has written yet? I guess not, because you sent in a report. Okay, so let Ainsley and I will set up a time to share Michael Wilson's report. Okay, we've talked with Michael, and he's volunteering his time. He's a special education expert recommended by Dr. Peter Leone a number of months ago to work with us. So we're going to do some more work on special ed. And part of this is because Alyssa said, I'm a lawyer, not an educator. We need an educational viewpoint on special ed. So, Michael, I don't know, Michael, if you wanted to show your face or say a word real quick, but we're going to cover your report at some point. I mean, you don't have to show your face or say anything, but I just want to bring it up and introduce you.
Thanks. Unfortunately, I cannot show my face. I'm sort of well, anyway, but it's nice to. Hello, nice to meet everyone, and I look forward to working with you on the special education issues and moving that forward.
I find Michael to be a very positive guy, and I think we're going to have a very productive discussion on special ed and that issue as we go forward. So, okay. All right. So, any other legislative update that anybody wants to give, since we don't have you know, we've had Delegate Simpson, Delegate Embry, and Delegate Pasteur introduce 5 or 6 pieces of legislation. Oh, I know, where are we with the recovery specialist? And that's in a piece of legislation too, isn't it?
Yeah, so the CPRS is HB 0612. That is scheduled for a hearing next Thursday. So testimony would be due on Tuesday. I am planning to go down for that one. It's at 1 o'clock in the government, labor, and elections.
So, and who's all testifying on that? Do you know?
I just got the hearing. I just found that the hearing yesterday. So I'm planning to go down. I hope that other people will choose to file testimony as well. But I'm also going to put this out to a couple of peer organizations.
So I think that I would like to
do.
I think I'd like to, if you could forward the stuff to me, I wouldn't mind at least submitting testimony.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm probably going to post it out on things like Tree of Hope and stuff like that, so it can get out to like the community peer organizations as well. You know, I've tried to communicate with NAMI. If anybody knows over there, they filed some testimony that expressed interest in a peer number. The bill or a peer program. The bill number is HB 0612. Yeah, HB 0612. Sorry, checking my notes.
It's going to be into which committee?
It's going to be Government, Labor, and Elections, 1 o'clock on the 19th.
And is there so where that will be, like, cause won't it be YouTube or will that, or is that a closed?
What, the hearing? No, they have it on. You can do virtual.
Okay.
And they do it. They broadcast it, but you can also do virtual testimony.
Well, obviously I can't, but what I was saying is if you have a link like readily available, I can maybe post that out too. For advocacy, some of the advocacy groups, yeah, because obviously I can't go out, but
Oh, it looks like Ainsley just popped it in the chat.
I'm on my phone, so I can't really do anything.
Oh, I'll send it to you.
Thank you.
Okay, so I'm going to try to be there, although I don't want to be there until 6 o'clock again, but what we have to do, we do.
No, it looks like there's only 7 bills that day or something. It's not 20 bills.
It's usually never 1 o'clock, but
Right. So, okay. Any other legislative update? Dee, do you have any reaction to what you're hearing today from our commission in terms of what you think, you know, for Delegate Metzger and his great effort with apprenticeship?
No, honestly, I do have a lot of notes, and I'll have to organize them for the delegate. And then as we go through and read over my summary, I think we'll have some questions and we'll reach out to the commission.
Okay, you can do that a couple ways. We participate again at the Career Tech meeting that's coming up. If you have questions that you want to submit to the commission and to the work groups, send them to Ainsley and me, and we'll get them out there so people can freely communicate among each other. In the meantime, we have this completely open process of communication and questioning and trying to help each other. So
yes, sir.
We really welcome you again.
Thank you.
Anybody else? Any comments? Any suggestions of what's going on? I think the session, the legislative session with the bills that are in there that reflect work that we've done are a complement to your work. Each one of our work groups has come up with stuff that then results in delegates and senators, particularly delegates, reacting and saying, we're going to fix this, or we're going to improve this, or we're going to help everybody do a better job. And I hope everybody takes it as a positive thing. I've said it before, I think that the Department of Labor, Department of Public Safety is trying to do their best. We have some very adverse situations, and other issues that I think people are honestly doing a good job with what they have and need more resources. And I want to compliment everybody, both departments and related departments, Department of Ed pitching in to help out with Mary Gable and maybe some future work. Thank you guys and higher ed. I mean, I don't know. We've got good input from government agencies, and the commission, I hope, is being seen as a positive light and helping push correctional education forward for this, for those people who are incarcerated. So, all right, Ainsley, do you have anything that we missed today that we have to do? You're our great keeper here of
None
everything.
for me.
And I want to commend
I will
Ainsley's-
say we might have to reschedule the next commission meeting, which is March 12th. I unfortunately have jury duty that day, which is everyone's favorite. So we might have to reschedule
Can
that.
we set that? Can we set that up anyway? I mean, if you have jury duty, I mean,
I think we should talk to Dr. Pindar, who is going to be speaking to us, to see what dates he might be available.
yeah, he was supposed to be available on the 12th, but you're saying to cancel that meeting?
I have jury duty, so I will not be able to staff the
What
meeting.
about,
so-
can we put it off to 1 week later? Would that work for everybody at the same time, 9 o'clock?
I think we should confirm with Dr. Pinder that he would be able to speak at that meeting if we push it
Well,
off.
let's
for a
set the
week.
meeting among ourselves first, because if we confirm with him, but nobody else can make it, then we haven't. So let's see if the commission can do it first. Can those who cannot, can you speak up and I cannot do it or whatever? 9 o'clock a week later. So that would be what date? March what? This is
It
the
would be
12th,
the
so it would be the 19th.
19.
So let's reschedule for the 19th and hope that Ainsley doesn't get stuck on a 3-week jury. So, all right, so we're gonna do the 19th for next month. Okay. And then we'll see if Dr. Pindar can make it. And if he can't, I think Dr. Lois Davis would probably be available then. So we'll, all right, so good. Thank you for bringing that up, and good luck with jury duty. Okay. Anything else for the good? We're a minute or two over, and so I'd like to thank everybody today and welcome again, Dee for Delegate Metzgar and all your great work that's going on, and to be continued. We've got a lot of good stuff happening. So, do I hear a motion? Gordon, okay, a second? And you can second. Gordon,
I
too.
will go ahead and second my husband.
Okay, great. Alrighty, thank you so much, and everybody have a great day, and hopefully we'll stay warmer. Okay, bye now.